Good Thursday morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray as we near Christmas. Can y'all believe this? December the 22nd. We're 3 days away from the big day. And as we all know, don't forget what this season truly is, the birth of Jesus Christ. That's what's important. That's what comes with this year. Not a gift, none of that. That's what matters. Anyway, as we start today, remember how it feels right now, because it will not feel this way for at least 3 days. It's going to be an experience that you will not forget. We're sitting at 48 right now, wind chill of 45 degrees. Today, the temperature will rise to 59, then temperatures will start to decline. We will have very gusty wind today, between 3 and 5, a chance of showers, and then rain ending, or showers, however you want to word that, by 9 o'clock. We will hit a low of 12 degrees. We will have a wind chill of at least a -2. It could be lower than that here in the Meridian area. That's higher the further north you go. Well, all this being said, it's going to be deadly. Now, if you've got elderly, there's 2 or 3 things that we need to check on. Make sure that their heaters are not near any curtains or too close to a couch, too close to a chair. It's in your neighborhood. Make sure you've got a few hours left to make sure your home is winterized. Make sure that your cars are winterized, because it will bust some blocks if you're running straight antifreeze in them. You just can't handle that. Some antifreeze is going to be very popular today. Make sure to check your gas. I'm sure that the gas men all around is going to be extremely busy today delivering fuel, and we don't want you to be caught without any. Joyce Gressett, good morning. Glad to see you're up at it. Mike Dallas, Sheila Lang, good morning. Denise Burnside joins us as well. So many of you up and going today. As I said, there's a lot to be thankful for. There's a lot we need to be worried about. One thing that I wanted to bring up before we do anything else is our friends, they've got a warming shelter set up. If you know someone who has nowhere to go, now I'm sure the Salvation Army will be taking people in. Their cutoff is usually around 5 o'clock. But a warming shelter has been set up this afternoon beginning at 4 o'clock. It will be at the Mt Barton facility. It's located on 2900 St. Paul Street in Meridian. That would be near the Chevron as you get off the exit there, 31st Avenue, when you go to St. Paul Street. We do hope that the needy will go there. If you know someone who needs a warm place, so far, that's all I'm aware of. A big thank you to the Bailey Volunteer Fire Department yesterday, who were handing out the hay to those who needed it for their pets. Do not forget those little critters there. If they stay outside, make sure they're warm. If you've got livestock, prepare them today as well. There's so much to do today. This is going to be one of the coldest that we've had upon years. They're calling it a snowzilla. I've seen that word used a lot as it makes its path toward the south. Now, we may not particularly get snow in Mississippi. We could get a flurry or some sleet, but north of us, it's going to be like you've never seen before. It's going to be a lot of people that are stranded. It's going to be a lot of flights that are canceled due to this storm between now and Sunday morning, when it finally starts, temperatures getting above freezing. We want everybody safe. Let's go out and find out what's going on at Collinsville Baptist as they tell us about, well, the greatest gift of all. And they are great. Let's check in.
Well, it may not be a white Christmas here in Mississippi, but are you dreaming of one? Whether it snows or not, this holiday season is always beautiful, because every Christmas is an open invitation from God to every person on planet Earth to experience hope, peace, joy, and love through Christ Jesus. We're thinking on these blessings this week, and today we'll focus on love. Jesus said in John 3:16, "For God so loved the world that He gave His only Son, that whoever believes in Him should not perish, but have eternal life." We often get asked, what was the greatest gift you got this Christmas? But since it's better to give than to receive, do you ever think about the greatest gift you gave this Christmas? God the Father would have no trouble answering that question. Without a doubt, Jesus Christ is the greatest gift He ever gave. Jesus wasn't wrapped in pretty paper and laid under a tree. No, more glorious than that. He was wrapped in human flesh and then wrapped in swaddling clothes and laid in a manger. And He wasn't just given to one person like most gifts. No, Jesus was given to the entire world. But why was He given? The simple answer is love. God loved the world so much that He gave us the greatest gift He could ever give, His only begotten Son, Jesus, so that we would be saved from sin and death and have life everlasting with God. This Christmas, as God the Father has loved us by giving us the gift of Jesus Christ, the King of Kings, salvation brings. Let loving hearts enthrone Him. Merry Christmas. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mouty Cabinetry. Brother Paul there from the Collinsville Baptist Church, thank you so much for that. And as I look at the notes here, and let me make sure I got this right. Connie Johns was telling us the temperatures in North Dakota. I think if you were to give me a piece of land in North Dakota, South Dakota, I might give it right back. -14 with wind chill, -37 in Fargo. I'm not built for that. I don't know about y'all. It gets about 32 and I'm ready to go inside and back up to a heater. But I guess that comes with age. My priorities have changed. I don't quite can handle the cold like I used to when I deer hunted. Didn't matter how bad it was. I could tough it out. Not so much now. Michigan, that's also a very cold state there, Denise. Burr. Jan, and maybe somebody is watching who can answer this. I didn't get deep into this enough yesterday to find out the answer to this. Did the city pound get the heat back on? If anybody can tell me, I'm going to make some calls this morning around 8 after we get off, or 8:30 to 9, and see what I can find out if we don't have an answer for that. We certainly hope they did. If you're wondering what we're talking about, there was a distress call, more or less asking for blankets for the city pound yesterday as the heat was out. And those poor pups couldn't handle that. I'm not sure if it was fixed, where the situation is at this point, but that was downtown Meridian. Again, if you've got an animal and they sit outside on a carport, whatever the case is, let them in tonight. Do that for us. Let them stay warm. Let's get to a few of the headlines that are going on in and around the area. We do have a wreck this morning that could possibly be hindering traffic as we go out to I-59. Let's pull this up for you to see here. This is I-59 around mile marker 141. Meehan has been dispersed to this. A car ran off in the ditch. Possible injuries. The volunteer fire department is on the scene. Also MHP and along with Metro there to make sure everything is okay. So if you're coming into Meridian, that's going to be northbound lane around mile marker 141. That's before you get to the split there coming into Meridian. Be careful there. As we look, it was almost, it must be something in that area. It was an overnight crash in the wee hours of the morning, almost in the same place at mile marker 142. As we go back to look at that, and a car flipped last night. They had to go out. No life-threatening injuries were involved in it, but it did flip, scared somebody. It woke the fire department back up. That's probably why they're dragging a little bit this morning trying to find their coffee. They were up half the night working on that. We hope everything is okay with the most current wreck. The first one was. We're waiting on more details on our next story, but we do know that the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department was involved in, well, a possible chase in car and on foot, as a deputy would realize that he just passed a car that was stolen. He would turn around and pursue the car, and they would take off until they didn't know how to drive a car, we'll put it that way, and crashed. A foot pursuit happened. 3, it could have been more suspects, I think, were taken into custody. We'll get up with Ward here in a little bit to find out more about that. But 3 bad guys off the street there. Nothing worse. It's Christmas. Everybody depends on their transportation to go places. Not everybody has 2 or 3 cars and they can use another one. It's expensive enough just maintaining one and keeping insurance, isn't it? So we hope they put the bad guys up there. Here's a kind of a view of where all that began. This is Highland Park. It began over here at 16th. In between those, right through there. About a mile-long chase there before they bailed out and ran on foot. Just couldn't drive very well. We head out next to another incident that happened yesterday that blocked traffic for a good bit there in the Wyandotte community. A wreck on Highway 19 yesterday afternoon stalled traffic there. The Wyandotte Fire Department was there directing traffic as they worked on that. Things like that happen. As we also glance, and let's see what else went on. We had several fender benders in town that I'm sure that you run up on. Not a lot of gunfire was reported to me yesterday. Now, I'm sure that there were things that went on that I didn't know about, but only one made it to my desk yesterday. It was quick, 2 or 3 shots. To my knowledge, no one was injured, nothing damaged. But around 6th Street, we got reports that a few rounds were fired off. Whoever it was quickly left the scene and got out of Dodge, so to speak. They're no longer there. As we look, as Christmas comes, this is the way it was last night as we look to downtown Meridian. Kind of peaceful there as you look down Main Street. We'll call it Main Street there. It's Front Street. Does make you think of Bob Seger, doesn't it? You can't help it. I spoke last night to Eric Clark. They had just gotten a call. I spoke with him not more than 4 to 5 minutes after the apprehension of this suspect. As we talk about thieves and what they do, well, they don't allow that in Neshoba County. They come after you. And as we look at this, an armed robbery took place last night in Neshoba County. The Sheriff's Department made an arrest within 11 minutes of this. They got a call to the Hope community that a convenience store had been robbed. 2 deputies were dispersed. They went that direction. One of the deputies realized they thought they passed the description of the car, and they whipped around. The suspect fled into another store. I believe it was the Powwow is the name of the store. Yeah, the Powwow store, to blend in. Didn't fool deputies. They pulled in, found the Halloween mask that the person was wearing, the long gun, and the cash that was stolen. Now, as we look at this, I want you to look at this closely here of what this will get you as we look at this. And we'll talk about this again this morning, coming up at 8 o'clock this morning as we look here. Armed robbery suspect as they use that gun to rob the store. That's an AR-15 style. Now, look at that cash. Y'all see that? Was that worth facing jail time? You know how much was there? How much they took? $117 will get you in jail. Not very smart, is it? It's not. Here's our suspect that has been taken into custody by the Neshoba County Sheriff's Department. There he is. And I'm going to call it, if I can pronounce this right, Jatarian Stribling. You can go to our webpage and double-click the arrest report and read all about it there. But that's what happened in Neshoba County. And again, 11 minutes. That's good timing there, is the response on that to take care of a situation that happened. We go to Jackson, Mississippi. Any folks watching from west of here, Richland, that area? I have to give, and we look at the pictures of this as it comes out. And, I went to the girl's Facebook page, and the headline this morning reads that suspect was taken down. There was a situation at Walmart last night in Richland where a lady went irate. It was a female. Again, at this point, we'll call it a suspect. You have to until things are proven otherwise. I think we know more. But she took a hostage in Walmart. It was a young lady that was at work last night at Walmart. Who would know how this would be? She demanded a news anchor come to her. She had something to say. Police surrounded the situation, and it was quite a while. I've got the video. Now, it doesn't show anything. I don't want anybody to panic, but it shows you the situation that was going on there with people in the store and this poor girl that was at work trying to make an honest living. And I want you to look at this picture. This is the front of the store right there. This young lady, to my knowledge, never moved. She maintained calmness all through this. Now, what you can't see in that still picture, you can see it in the video, is that young lady next to her was flashing a gun, claiming that she was going to hurt that young lady. And all through the video that I watched, she remains calm, steady, never says anything, just stood there. I guess if there's a textbook way to handle being held hostage, that young lady did it. She will get to go home to her family as she did last night and live another day. The suspect did not. Police moved in and she was taken out. We hope to find out more about that today in the situation there, but that was quite the ordeal. That doesn't happen in Mississippi very often. But as we say our thank yous, and a good word to the man upstairs, that young lady got to go home last night. We don't know what the issue was with the lady that took her hostage. We don't know what caused that, what it was all about. Again, we hope to find out more about that today. As we look at things, a body was found yesterday in Jackson, Mississippi. Also, a person was going down the road and they thought they saw something, backed up. They called Jackson PD, and it was a body. as they look at this, the coroner is saying he doesn't suspect foul play in this instance. He thinks the person died of natural causes. They have not released the name of the suspect, the person, however you want to word that. No disrespect to them. They just haven't contacted the family yet. They haven't released the name on that. We keep going back to this of the shooting that happened in I-55 in Jackson. It got my attention. You go grocery shopping, you're minding your own business. I-55 is a busy place through Jackson. Heads on up, you can go to Lakeland, you can go County Line Road. We've all been through there if you've gone to Jackson as you go shopping. There was a shooting in the parking lot there of Kroger. 2 people were shot. They didn't die, a miracle there, but they have finally made an arrest, and I would assume that it has to do with cameras. As I look at this, 2 20-year-olds and an 18-year-old. Again, it's all of these shootings, not everyone, but such a large majority of our shootings, even in our little town, are all these ages, anywhere from a minor to the age of about 25 is the common age of shooters. It's a different generation coming up, my friends. As we glance around with headlines across the state of Mississippi, Delbert Hoseman, do you know who I'm talking about? He wants to send rebate checks to Mississippians, roughly on average of about $500, sending back tax refunds. We'll see where that goes. Could this be a political move? Put his name? It does make you wonder. We'll find out. Now, there are those who have been trying to abolish state tax altogether to where you wouldn't have to pay for that on your groceries and things. And I think we're all smart enough to know if they do away with the state tax, it will just increase something somewhere else. They've got to have the cash. They've got to have the money. They will just increase something else. We know that. What would really help is if they would take that tax off of food. Maybe leave the tax on everything else, but take that off of so people can afford to eat. That helps. People are in a very serious situation as our economy and nationwide is not the greatest, is it? We go to Clinton next for our next headline across the state of Mississippi. It's so sad, and again, it's so close to Christmas to even have to report something like this, but a pedestrian was killed Tuesday night, riding a bicycle there. 68 years old. Actually, he was crossing the road. I misspoke on that. A 68-year-old man was crossing the road near Walmart there in Clinton. He was killed. We pass along condolences to his family. They did stop. It was not a hit and run, but it doesn't change the fact that his life is, well, he's no longer here. What did I just say just a second ago as I talked about shootings across this? We go back to Jackson. A 30-year-old woman lost her life 2 days ago. This is, it was coming up on 3. Today's the 22nd. This happened on the 19th on Woody Drive in Jackson. 17-year-old shot and killed a 30-year-old. We don't know why, what the argument was. But again, that very young age that thinks that, well, they can settle a score with hurting someone. And again, if it wasn't with a gun, they would do it some other way. All of this, again, is not about weapons. It's about homes and choices that people make. And we have a generation now that's really making some bad choices, I believe. You may agree or disagree with me. We go next to Canton, Mississippi. Oh, you've been there once or twice. That big flea market that they have over there. Don't y'all like it? They had a rump row this week where the sports complex is. That's a big deal for them. Often been brought up about Meridian having one of those, but we don't have it, do we? We've got a very open barn to get very cold at. Oh, back to the main story. Yeah, a city vehicle was stolen from their sports complex. Kind of hard to miss it there. A city vehicle stolen. Kind of hard to blend in traffic in one of those. Hope they find that very, very soon there. Lafayette County, we go there today for another one of these headlines to where Ricky Poe has been arrested. He's got molestation charges. Shameless. I shouldn't even have to be telling you that, should I? Again, you're innocent until proven guilty, but he's been arrested. A temporary restraining order as we go to Hattiesburg. And this may be the ticket. You ever had one of those places that when people rent your building that, well, you don't know what's going on? City's kind of tired of it. VFW has been rented out once or twice. Well, there's been fights, there's been shootings, and well, the city council's going, whoa, wait a minute, we got to put some stipulations on that. They've put a restraining order about them renting it out. They'll have to have a whole list of things before they can do this. They had a Halloween party, and then it happened again at a Christmas party last week. They're going to, as Barney would say, nip it. It does look that way, doesn't it? We see that, I just keep going back to some stories, don't I? Dozens gathered in North Mississippi for the memory of a professional football player, Christian Salisbury. Lost his life. He was 25 years old. He was a football player here in the state of Mississippi. In the northern Mississippi, they held a vigil for him. We see more and more of that. Again, I warn you about this weather that is coming. As I look at everything about this snow, I can't even pronounce it. The Weather Channel has given it a name. I'd have to go back and it's Clyde or something like that. I'd have to see what they named it. I'm sure you know. But snow apocalypse, if I pronounced apocalypse right with that, is what they're saying is on the way. Again, if you've got loved ones that drive rigs for a living, you've got to travel. Make sure you know where you are. Watch the forecast no matter what part of the United States you're standing in so you'll know if you can travel. We don't want anyone trapped in a car. What happens? You know it's a bad result there if you're trapped in a car and can't get out. Find a place, hunker down. Get off the streets and highways. We'll check that forecast next as we begin this Thursday morning all together. I'll be right back. Y'all stay with me. It's going to be a great day. Check it out. We'll be right back with more. The Square Peg Mini Mall is located across from the Neshoba County Co-op in Philadelphia. And they're getting ready for the Christmas season with a large variety of furniture and over 30 vendors to browse through. You can take advantage of the layaway on furniture and not pick it up until Christmas Eve. The inventory is constantly updating, and there's always a chance for a surprise when you step inside. Family owned and operated, where they treat you like family. Come visit the Square Peg Mini Mall located at 335 West Main Street in Philadelphia.
Tate's Fireworks in Marion is open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. till 8 p.m. and again on New Year's Eve from 8 a.m. until. They offer professional-grade fireworks at a low, low price, and if you don't want to scare your pets, they offer versions that are sensory-friendly. Video monitors placed throughout their store to demonstrate how they perform in the sky. Tate's Fireworks has maintained the same great prices they offered last year. Be sure to check out their buy one, get one bins, and don't forget, they guarantee no duds at Tate's. Shop local with Jeff Tate and family at Tate's Fireworks in Marion and Collinsville.
Just speaking with Matthew at Eastgate Tire there in Marion, they're going to close down on Friday, and they will be closed Friday through Monday for Christmas. And then we'll get some hours there after we get ready for the new year, but they'll be closed down for that little bit of time there to spend time with family and friends. I hope you, too, will get a chance to do that. Call somebody you hadn't spoke to in years. Make you feel good about yourself and what's going on. Always good to keep in touch with friends. It's so easy. Life can slip by, and the next thing you know, you hadn't talked to someone in 10 years, then you hear bad news. We don't want that to be the case. Let's check in on the forecast now and see what's going on.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Those record highs and lows, it was 1990, it was 78 today, back in 89. Anybody remember this? Kind of where we're headed now. 8 degrees. Woof. That was cold. As we look forward to today, 59 is that high. We're not going to get any more. Those temperatures will start to plunge as we'll look at these nighttime lows in just a second. As we look at the edge of Alabama there, 58 at Demopolis, and we'll see about 58 there also in Livingston. Chances of shower here in the northwestern corner of Bama. As we look at this is what we're talking about, these record-breaking cold that is expected here. From Philadelphia northward, this takes a northwest turn across the northern portion of Neshoba County. As we look back over here to Leake County, it's going to be absolutely cold toward Louisville, Mississippi State. Macon, Mississippi gets into that. Crawford, all these areas northward will be at a level 4 with his extreme threat. Wind chills -10 or so. Now, the Meridian areas, you'll look at this, will fall under the -1 to -10. I'm seeing somewhere in between -2s and 3s expected for Meridian. Again, it can go colder. I want you to know that. As we look here, we move forward and look at the wind. It's going to be strong, gusts of about 40 miles an hour. Tonight, 30 miles an hour at least expected. This can cause power outages. Make sure that you have plenty of blankets. Make sure you've got a generator ready to fire up if you own one. Make sure it runs. As we look at this, the wind chill warning for the edge of Alabama also, as we look at all of this here. As we look down, also those freeze warnings for most of Alabama as we look at this. Now we move across. A brief wintry mix in the northern portion of Alabama is expected. Now, we could get that in the northern portion of Mississippi as well. That's what they're expecting there in Bama. Nothing for our area there in East Mississippi or West Alabama. We look to this, and it looks as though it will warm up just in time for New Year's. It will. As we look at today, look at that, 59 down to 12. We want to talk about slamming on brakes. That will happen. Again, tonight we'll have a little bit of fog mixed in with this cold weather. Tomorrow, not getting above 27 degrees. Awful. Back down to 12 again tomorrow night. As we look to Saturday, 31 for a high, 16 is the low. And Monday, we start seeing the trend of temperatures warming up during the day and making it all the way back to 56 by Wednesday. As we bump on up, let's go all the way to the first, 70 degrees. Look at that as we get ready to move into New Year's. 72 on New Year's Eve and 67 for a high with a slight chance of showers there on New Year's Day. We'll stay in the 60s for a few days there. As we look to it, let's see what the fishing calendar looks like. We'll head out to Chet's Paint and Body. It looks like a great time starting off this morning at 7. It will last until 9. Again, those gusts of 20 miles an hour during the daytime. Sustained winds of anywhere from 5 to 15. Excellent day to fish is what we're being told. As we look at the deer hunting times, well, today is it. It's a noon lunch, a nooner, as they say. Head out around 12 o'clock. Be there through about 2:30, the best of times today. You'll get another chance right there at dusk dark. It's not the greatest, but there is a chance. But lunch is the time to go deer hunt. How many days do we have left to the new year? Well, it's 10 days until we get there. Wow. Can y'all believe that? Drop in and see Tate's. They'll take care of you there in Marion. Definitely happening. Well, we've got a little problem there. Let's go back to radar and pull this up as we come here. Let me get to radar. It's messing up on me, isn't it? Big time. Let's go back to radar. As we pull this up, we'll take a look here. As we come across, let's take a look and see what the National Weather Service has for us today. There we go. We've got fog to the east here in Alabama around Grove Hill, Thomasville, Alabama, Camden, these areas here, Pine Springs. They do have fog this morning. All of this blue shaded area, we have a wind chill and a hard freeze warning in effect for today. Serious weather as we look at this. We want you to be careful as you're out and about today and all of this. As you look to North Mississippi up here around West Point and northward, you get into a winter weather advisory. Y'all see all of that? Also, as we move into the edge of Alabama there, northern Alabama, wind chill advisory. But right there, if you'll look at this, now if you're banking on who's going to get snow, right there is what we're looking at. Amory, Mississippi, across here, Woodland, Mississippi, Big Creek, Coffeeville, Tupelo area, all the way back to Oxford. Expect a little bit. We'll be back at 8 o'clock. Thank y'all so much for joining us this morning as we give you a glimpse at what the forecast is going to do. We'll be back very shortly. See you soon at the Scotty Ray Report.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: